guys, welcome back. Sorry for the lack of videos. I think I said in the last one I had a week's vacation planned. That actually got canceled. Kind of had a family emergency and didn't turn out well. So, but that's kind of where I've been. So, trying to get myself back in the swing of things and keep moving on. So, trying to keep my mind off everything. So, we're gonna dive back into this. Still waiting on parts. So, today it's kind of crummy outside, but I'm kind of done as far as I can go with the front end right now. I can start painting the inner wheel wells, the inner fenders, but I kind of want to wait for my wheels to come in, which is what I measured for last time. See if I'm going to have to modify anything before I paint it. Then I have to modify it and then have to repaint it again. So I think this is the best time of any. We're going to spin this thing around and start tearing the rear end apart. So still waiting on my fuel tank. God knows when that's going to show up, but I have undercoating to do. I have rear sway bar mounts to put in. I have the inner wheel tubs to modify. We're not doing a mini tub, but I do believe I'm going to do that seatbelt bump in the inner wheel wells. Going to cut that, pound it in, and modify it, and re-weld it. But yeah, just see where we get on this. Starting this middle of the week, so we'll see how far we get. Like I said, sorry for the lack of episodes, but sometimes life takes over and makes you makes you focus on that. So all I can say is focus on your family, spend the time that you can with them, and enjoy. So with that, I'm going to try to dodge some raindrops and attempt to turn this thing around in my driveway. It's probably going to end up looking like Austin Powers 20-point turn, but let's get this thing flipped around so we can get it up in the air and start yanking out the fuel tank and the rear axle and getting everything ready to go.
That was a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Okay, now that we got it pushed back in the garage facing the other direction, I'm going to start underneath the back end. Start with the fuel tank. Still got the rest of the exhaust under there, the factory exhaust, and then we'll dive into the rear axle. My plan is to take the rear axle completely out, service it out of the car, and that'll give me time to do all my undercoating and running new brake lines. I did go ahead and get brand new stainless brake lines for it, so we'll go ahead and start with the fuel tank and start working our way forward. This fuel tank technically is not going to go back in. I do have a fuel tank on order, but we'll see when it comes in. It's probably going to be a few months. So fuel tank's coming out. Let's get this wrapping up.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
So in taking that down, realized that it's going to be a little easier to get the exhaust out of the way. So started taking it out. It's not coming out nicely, which all the bolts came out fine, but it's just not coming out of that muffler. So we're resorting to higher measures, if you want to call it that. One of my favorite tools. Time to blast out the Sawzall and get this thing out of here. She's out. Okay, so what that does is that frees up a lot more room for me to get the remaining hoses out of there. I've already got most of the fuel lines off, but when I say this car was original, I think all these exhaust hangers are still original. This thing's pretty cool. There's actually a nice little bracket under there. So we're gonna save these and see if we can use them. Not really to be more factory, but it's a pretty cool piece. So, and from what I can tell, it's in pretty good condition. So we'll go ahead and save these, see if we can redo them, and let's get this fuel tank out. So now we got the fuel tank out. Just wanted to kind of show you my excitement here. But I knew this car really hadn't been molested. It pretty much left original. Well, on these cars, I didn't think it'd be there. On these cars from the factory, they put another build sheet and basically another window sticker on top of the fuel tank before they put it up in there. To my surprise, this is what I found. So it's pretty cool. Original build sheet, you can see it back there on the car. Pretty tattered, but it's kind of cool to have. I mean, that's been under the car since 1980 with 96,000 miles on it, and that piece of paper survived. So kind of cool. So we'll put that in the book, and kind of makes me a little, I don't know, not really upset that I'm changing it, but that's cool history. That's kind of why we're leaving the natural patina on this car, so we don't ruin that. We might add a few things here and there to it, but we're trying to still maintain that used and not really battered, but used and worn look on this car. That's kind of why we're not going to go through and paint it right off the bat. It was so well kept and loved, so we will put this in the book and go ahead and get this thing put up on jack stands in a place where I can pull the rear axle out from underneath of it. So all the brake lines are out of it, so there's nothing left to hold it in other than the parking brake cables. So we're gonna go ahead and put our tires back on and put this thing up on, let this thing back down, put it up on jack stands where I can jack it up and pull the axle out. Okay, so now we're down here to the axle. We're gonna go ahead and pull our brakes apart and get our parking brake cable disconnected so that we can disconnect the one remaining flex brake line, our shocks, and then pull our leaf springs off, or disconnect our leaf springs and slide it out as an assembly. So I'm gonna go ahead, yank these discs apart, or these drums apart. We are not using these, so I'm not gonna give you a tutorial on how to take these things apart, because I am literally just going to take them apart and not care. So go ahead, take these apart. Luckily the drums are not seized. They come off very, very easily, actually. So let's finish taking these things apart and yeah, keep going. Now we'll get our shocks disconnected. So 2 bolts on top on each side. So we'll knock these 4 bolts out, and then all we have to do is the leaf springs. So I'm gonna knock these out real quick and we'll move on. And we got it out. So going to go ahead and strip these springs off here, take the shocks off too, and get this down to a bare axle. We have new leaf springs, have new shocks, we got new brake lines, and we got some seals to put in this thing. Kind of leaning possibly putting a posi in it this year, but more or less just trying to get this thing running this year. Parts restraints might change that. So yeah, like I said, we're waiting on our fuel tank. We ordered our wheels yesterday, and those are about 4 to 5 weeks out. So let's get rocking. Okay, got her all stripped down. Got all our brackets that I wanted to save and hold on to. Not sure if the kit comes with new shackles or not, so I just held on to them anyways. But springs, shocks, gone. So we are going to end up breaking into this thing later, sooner. I don't know when we're going to do it. Like I said, I'm kind of leaning towards putting a posi in it this year, but I don't know if the budget right now has got it. So we're going to clean this thing up. We got to take our drum brake backing plates off because that's where our new disc brakes mount to. Those are also Willwood. And I'm going to look and see about resizing these studs up to match the front. So, yeah, pretty much it. So we'll have to pull the axles out and to pull those plates off. And then we're going to check our new brakes, see if there's any more hoses and stuff I need to order. But yeah, other than that, she's out. She's pretty empty underneath. Car's pretty empty underneath now. So like I said, got to finish up the undercoating under there. We got a rear sway bar that I got to modify a few factory holes to fit the mounts in. I'm waiting on a delivery. I just ordered something a couple days ago that I need for the projects coming up. So I've welded with everything, every type of welding you can do, from oxyacetylene to brazing to stick welding to MIG welding, everything. I've never TIG welded before, so I surprised myself with a TIG welder. So put a picture up here right now. It's an Everlast 200 DV. DVs for dual voltage. It'll do 110 and 220, but it'll also do AC and DC. So I'll be able to do aluminum, pretty much everything. Probably not the right thing for some of the mods that I'm going to be doing, but it's what I'm going to have. So, like I said, never done it before in my life. Done every other type of welding and brazing, and every day, at least 2-3 times a day, I'm touching a stick welder at work. So we'll see how it goes. But with that, I'm gonna leave you guys with this episode. Sorry it was unclimatic. Like I did, I guess trying to get back in the swing of things. Trying to keep my mind calm and easy, and get through this kind of rough time. So yeah, so like I say, like, subscribe, stay tuned for more content, and all I can say is, always cherish the time with your loved ones. So, but I'm not going to cry in this video. So with that, we'll see you guys down the road.